Hello, friends. Sleep Tight Stories, Sleep Tight Relax, and Sleep Tight Science are now available to play on Story Button, the device that makes it easy to listen to our shows and more without having to use a phone or tablet. This month, you can save $10 at storybutton.com when you use the code SLEEPTIGHT. Story Button, the home of imagination. Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. Every week, we celebrate our supporters through shout-outs and personal birthday messages. We think this is also a fun way for us to hear about all the amazing places that you, our listeners, come from. I'd like to say hello to Tommy and Martin in Columbus, Ohio, from Mom, Dad, James, Goldie, and Jet. Happy belated birthday to Alexander, who turned 9 years old on March 24th. Mommy, Daddy, and Elise are so proud of you. Happy belated birthday to Therese, who turned 5 on March 27th, from Mom, Dad, and Brother Charles. Happy belated birthday to Alice in Sydney, Australia, who turned 6 on March 27th, from her dogs, Katniss and Django. Happy belated birthday to Lorelei, who turned 10 on March 29th. And happy belated birthday to Ada on March 29th. Love, Mom and Dad. We are so proud of you and love watching you grow into the yoga and book-loving 8-year-old that you are today. Happy birthday to Ellie from Danville, who was turning 6 on April 1st. Love, Mommy and Daddy. You fill our happy hearts with love and joy. Happy birthday to Violet Rowan, who is turning 5 on April 1st. Have a magical day from Sylvie, Mama, Dada, and Georgia. Happy birthday to Derek, who is turning 10 on April 1st. From your parents, Eric and Carolyn, and your sister, Carolina. You are truly a blessing in their lives, filling their hearts with immeasurable joy. They love you to the moon and back. Happy 9th birthday to Aryav from Amara, Mama and Papa on April 2nd. Happy birthday to Becker, who is turning 7 on April 3rd. Your mommy, daddy, brother, and sisters love you so much. And happy birthday to James from Hong Kong, who's turning 4 on April 3rd. Love from Mom, Dad, Amelia, and Aria. You are their superhero. Happy birthday to you all. Now, on to our story. Nicole has found the perfect place to plant the seeds she found in the barn. She is hoping they will grow into chocolate flowers, or maybe gummy bear bushes. She heads off to bed after planting, hoping that maybe they will grow overnight. The next morning, the sun wakes Nicole very early, so she gets up and goes downstairs to eat. When she looks out the window, she can hardly believe her eyes. Nicole and the Box in the Barn, Part 3. Ugh, Nicole groaned. Why must the sun shine? The drafty window had somehow opened her drapes just enough to allow one bright, focused beam of light to shine perfectly on her face, waking her up long before she would even think of waking up. For some reason, her mother had given her the bedroom in this stinky old house that faced the sun in the morning. And since there were no trees close to the house, that gave the sun permission to ruin her day. Nicole wasn't a morning person. She liked to think of herself as a night owl, but her mother disagreed with that, so she had to go to bed early. But no matter what, she just couldn't wake up in the morning without her mother coming in and shaking her. One time, her mother carried her down for breakfast and sat her in a chair, and Nicole didn't even realize it. She couldn't hear her phone alarm either. It's like her ears had an off switch. But the sun shining on her eyes worked. She would have to nail the curtains to the wall later. The house was quiet, which meant it must have been super early. Nicole's mother was a morning person. Nicole put on her jeans that were crumpled up on the floor, an old torn sweatshirt that was draped over her luggage, and tiptoed down the stairs to the kitchen. Tiptoeing, she started to realize, was a waste of time because each step on the stairs, no matter how light, was met with loud creaking noises. Still, her mother didn't seem to hear her. Today was supposed to be her mother's bread and banana concoction for breakfast, but Nicole decided to settle for peanut butter and toast. "Why is this house so cold?" she complained out loud, hopping up and down, until she realized that her feet were so cold because she had forgotten to put on socks. She grabbed the huge jar of peanut butter from the cupboard and stopped to look out the kitchen window towards where her garden would be. Hey, maybe it's grown overnight, and I can have some fresh cotton candy straight off the bush, or some chocolate leaves from the chocolate tree, she laughed to herself. What? What is all that color? Nicole said, with more than a little bit of surprise as she looked out the window. Nicole quickly walked to the back entryway, put on her sneakers, which were now covered in grass stains and red dirt, went out the door, and started walking towards the plot by the old barn. "Brrr," she said as she rubbed her arms. It was cold on the island first thing in the morning. She would have gone back into the house to get a jacket, but she was scared that if she turned around, what she saw would disappear. She hesitated for a moment, wondering if maybe she was still asleep. That would make sense considering how early it was. But judging how wet her sneakers were from the morning dew, she figured she must be awake. I can't dream of cold, wet feet, can I? Taking a deep breath, she kept walking, her feet leaving small, damp footprints behind. As the fog lifted from around the plot of land, what was revealed to her was nothing short of magic. A garden like she had never seen before. Reds, yellows, purples, and blues mingled together in a display that stretched from one end of the garden to the other. There were sunflowers that towered above most of the other plants, their large, smiling faces turning slowly to follow the sun's path across the sky. Roses of every conceivable color bloomed in clusters, their petals looking velvety soft. The fence was no longer in ruin, and it looked like a fresh coat of paint had been applied overnight while she was asleep. There was even a gate, which she opened, and unlike every other door on the farm, it opened smoothly and noiselessly. Walking through the gate, she was greeted with the sweet smell of flowers, a mixture of lilac, peonies, rose, and something mysteriously exotic she couldn't quite name. They had had some of these flowers in their garden in Montreal, but they were not as big and beautiful as these were. She could hear the buzz of bees and the soft fluttering of butterfly wings. And birds, lots and lots of chirping birds. As she walked further into the garden, its ground expertly manicured, her fingers brushed against the petals and leaves, each texture unique, some smooth, some slightly rough, and others delicately fringed. Nicole bent down to inhale the rich, chocolatey scent of a particularly beautiful flower. She closed her eyes for a moment, a smile spreading across her face. Taking another sniff, she laughed. Though you look like a normal flower, you smell delicious enough to eat. The further she walked into the garden, the more amazing things she discovered. A small patch of what looked like tiny, star-shaped flowers glowed softly, illuminating the shaded path with their gentle light. A cluster of bushes bearing fruit that shimmered in the sunlight, changing colors like tiny jewels. There were large bushes with giant, ripe strawberries waiting to be picked. Blueberries, too. At the heart of the garden, there was even a pond. That certainly wasn't there before, Nicole said. Lily pads floated on the water, each bearing a bloom more beautiful than the last. Little fish played with each other below the surface. Nicole knelt by the pond's edge, dipping her fingers into the cool water, watching as the waves rippled across the water. How did this all come about from a simple packet of seeds? She asked herself. I really must be dreaming. This can't be real. Change doesn't come overnight, does it? Then she heard her mother's voice. Nicole, where are you? Nope, I'm not dreaming, Nicole muttered. I'm out here, Mom, she yelled. Well, come on in for some breakfast. Today we are having my famous French toast and banana, her mother yelled. Nicole's stomach made some noises, and she realized she was hungry. I'll be back after I eat breakfast, my beautiful, magical garden, Nicole said in the direction of a sunflower, which swayed in response. After she closed the gate carefully, she ran across the barnyard to the house and entered through the screen door, which slammed behind her with a loud bang. We are going to have to get that door fixed, her mother said, coming out to the back entrance to see Nicole. Oh my, she continued. We are going to have to get you some rubber boots if you are going to be outside when the sun rises. Your shoes and feet are soaked. Yes, it's a bit like running through rain puddles out there. It's all wet and splashy, Nicole replied. I have your breakfast ready for you on the table, her mother said. Thanks, Mom, Nicole replied, sitting down to stuff as much food in her mouth as she could. She wanted to go back out to explore her garden as quickly as possible. So, what has you up so early this morning? Her mother asked, surprised to see her daughter up so early. You are usually the sleepyhead, and the last time I remember you getting up so early was when you were going on a trip with your friends last summer. The sun came in my window and almost burned a hole through my eyelids, so I got up to avoid any harm, Nicole said. What were you doing outside? You weren't wandering around that dark, dangerous barn, were you? No, I was working in my garden. It's already super beautiful, Nicole said, getting up out of her chair to put her plate in the dishwasher. Nicole's mother looked out the window, a bit surprised. I guess it's hard to see your progress, dear, because of all the strange fog covering that part of the field. But I am happy you are outside working on something. I have to work upstairs today, but maybe you can show me your garden later in the week. Okay, Mom. I think I am going to go outside and work in my garden again. Call me if you need any help, Nicole said as she ran out the door, not bothering to put on her sneakers this time. Running towards the garden, the grass felt soft, slightly springy, and a little bit ticklish, especially between her toes. She didn't notice the cold this time. The sun was a bit higher than earlier. The dew on the grass and leaves sparkled, making the whole garden shimmer. The flowers opened up even farther to the warmth, their colors bright and cheerful under the clear blue sky. Walking into her garden, Nicole started talking to the plants without even thinking about it. "Hello, Rose. Are you magic?" she asked, of course not expecting an answer. "How about you, strawberry plant? Would you let me take some of your strawberries back to my mother? Wouldn't she be surprised? It's not even strawberry season yet." As she spoke, something wonderful happened. The roses, ever so slightly, started to grow taller, as if they were trying to reach the sky. The bush beside them revealed even more colorful flowers, making the garden look like a rainbow. And the strawberry bush seemed to sway back and forth, like it was responding to Nicole's voice. "You can hear me," she laughed. "My mother always said that plants grew best if you talked to them. But this is a whole other level." Nicole walked to a sunflower towering nearby. "Hello, sunflower. My name is Nicole, and I live here on this farm. Though I don't really want to because I miss my old friends, and this farm doesn't have internet. It feels good to talk to someone again, or something." The sunflower swayed in response. Nicole looked around to see if the wind was blowing. She couldn't tell. She walked a bit farther and sat down on the green grass in front of a beautiful pink peony. "Hello, peony. I don't know if you heard, but my name is Nicole, and I just moved here. You are the first person— Can I call you a person? I haven't really had anyone to talk to for like a whole week, and I used to talk to my friends every day, so I am a bit lonely and bored," Nicole said, feeling a bit self-conscious about talking to a plant. The peony grew a little bit taller in response. "Do you think I am crazy? Or is it just that my imagination is so powerful that it is causing me to see things? Because the more I talk, the more beautiful you become, and that is really super strange." The peony grew even taller. The grass in the garden didn't seem wet, so she laid down and continued to talk to whatever would listen. "Did I tell you I missed my friends? I guess I did, maybe 3 or 4 times already. I don't know why we couldn't stay in Montreal. I mean, I know, but what difference is it that my father grew up here? This isn't my home. My mother loves to travel and have adventures, but this island with red dirt doesn't seem adventurous at all, at least until now. Is this an adventure? Maybe. What do you plants think?" Nicole said, thinking that if the plant talked back to her, she really should go tell her mother that she was hallucinating. The plants didn't talk back to her. "Phew, that's a relief. My mother always says that the world is magical. I always thought it was just an exaggeration or a metaphor or something. I didn't realize it was true," Nicole said, as she looked up at the flowers and bushes surrounding her. A nearby lilac almost doubled in size. "So what else would you guys like to know about me?" Nicole asked, as she started to enjoy sharing her life with someone or something new. And that is the end of this part. Good night. Sleep tight.